Hey GlamFam, Linwood here, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my routine that I've recently started for my scalp. So in case you're wondering, I look extremely busted, of course. I'm going to go ahead and take this messy bun down. So for those who don't know, I am incredibly oily. I fry chicken with my face, and unfortunately I also fry chicken with my scalp, which means that this scalp is very, very oily. I've got a lot going on, but at the same time my skin is also very dry. So recently in the store I had seen that they had some products for dry, itchy scalp, things like that from Shea Moisture, and they had some products that were, I felt like, really interesting for my hair. So the first of which was this one right here, and I'll try to show you guys an up close of it. This one is the Bamboo Charcoal Pre-Shampoo Scalp Scrub, and honestly I was a little bit skeptical at first until I read the ingredients. One of the key ingredients in this one is salicylic acid. So for those who don't know, salicylic acid is beta hydroxyic acid. It's commonly used to treat acne, blackheads, whiteheads, things like that, and it does so by kind of dissolving some of the excess debris of keratin and skin cells down the scalp that would naturally clog up your pores and your follicles and cause you to have different issues with the scalp. I will see if I can show you guys some up close of like the flakes that I get up here. And I mean, it's all throughout my head, but like basically one of the easiest ways to tell if this is a good product for you is usually like if you are scratching up here, you notice like, okay, that scalp or that hair is oily and you're scratching, but it's still dry, and you get like particles up underneath the fingernails, there's a good chance that you've got a naturally oily scalp. And a lot of times people see the flakes, they'll put more oil on it, and it leads to a condition called seborrheic dermatitis because of the overproduction of oil, and then you're supplementing too much oil. We just don't need those type of problems. So you want to make sure you're properly cleansing the scalp. This one here, the only time I would recommend really not using it is of course if it's not in need at the moment. And I've noticed that my scalp here lately, especially throughout the summer, had been itching a lot. Now, after using this, it's been about 2 weeks since the first time I used it, and my scalp has been good ever since. And now my scalp is kind of acting up again, so I wanted to go ahead and show you guys, because I feel like if any one product has helped my scalp for 2 solid weeks, like baby, get it to me on the market. I need to make this in a bigger bottle. They do have another product as well, but I'll go ahead and discuss that in a minute because I want to give you a warning for this baby here. If you are allergic to aspirin, it's not recommended that you use salicylic acid on the skin, as well as if you have any type of sensitivities, if you're on things like Accutane, stuff like that, you really want to be careful about the products that you put on the skin because this can cause some irritation. Now, of course, the product says that it contains tea tree oil and willow bark extract, and trust me, it does contain willow bark extract because you have chunks of bark that come out while you're using it. It's kind of one of the downsides for me, but the benefits of this product have been absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna see if I can let you guys see some of the scalpage. Let's see here. Will the camera focus? Will a real Slim Shady please stand up? So basically when you've got dry scalp, you can kind of rub like that and you'll notice flakes will show up. And that's basically the space that I'm at right now. Like, this is what dry scalp looks like. You don't really notice flakes until you begin to scratch, and then boom, they're there. So that's dry scalp. Now in my instance, my scalp is not only dry, it's also oily. So I want to make sure that I am using a product that's going to help out with that. Now they do have another one called their Purifying Buildup Blaster. And this one for me was okay. And I'll explain the benefits and the drawbacks to me of this one here in just a minute. But the thing that I love about this one to me is just, it's a winner. It's a product that I absolutely love. It has an exfoliating tip on it. I don't know if you guys can see there. The exfoliating tip on there is nice because it allows you to gently massage the scalp. It's not super hard. You guys can see how flexible it is, but it's not something that's going to cause abrasion to the scalp. But it does help to gently massage up some of those skin cells, things like that, and do all of that. Now you can see the little spout in the middle. That's where the product comes out. You will have to squeeze a little harder than anticipated there, and I think a lot of it just has to do with the willow bark extract in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how this works here momentarily. The Purifying Buildup Blaster is one where basically it's got charcoal in it as well as a couple other things. I think this one does too. Yes, this one has charcoal in it as well. But the Purifying Buildup Blaster, this one for me is great. Like if I need another day or two's wear before I take down my hairstyles, like let's say if I had it in braids, something like that, I would use this then. The downside for me is like, I don't know if you guys can see how liquidy this is, but it's honestly kind of messy to apply to the scalp just because of how liquidy it is. But honestly, you're supposed to take it and shake it up because there's a charcoal, activated charcoal in there. And so it should be like a darkish color like this here. And then you apply it to the scalp, which let me see if I can get in close so that way you guys can kind of see it. You would apply it to the scalp. And you guys, I don't know if you can see just how runny that product is. So that's the downside for me there, but it does make it easy to absorb into the skin, especially if the scalp is dry. I feel like it's great because it does have glycerin in there, which is a nice natural humectant. It draws moisture into the skin and into the hair. It also has a few other things in here. Of course, the charcoal to help out with detoxifying. You've got water as the key ingredient, shea butter, coconut fruit juice. So if you're sensitive to coconut oil, you may want to be mindful of that with this. I don't know if the coconut fruit juice would impact you the same way the coconut oil would. But again, to me, like this is like, I need to stretch it for a day or two. You basically put this on and massage into the scalp. Usually, like for me, within, I'd say an hour or two, I noticed a difference in terms of the itching in my scalp. It did not itch for another couple days, so it was great for that, but it wasn't an immediate relief for me. Like I said, it took an hour or two. This baby here, you put it on, you leave it on for up to 5 minutes, I believe. Section here and squeeze gel directly onto a wet scalp before shampooing. Use the scrubbing nubs to gently massage into scalp using circular motions to lift flaky buildup. Leave on for up to 5 minutes. Rinse with warm water and follow with our deep cleansing shampoo. So I'm gonna go ahead and illustrate how I use this for you guys. So it says to use it on a damp scalp, and I don't need to mess around here. So I'm just gonna take a water bottle and I'm gonna mist my scalp with it, and just gonna make sure I part out my hair as much as possible and just mist on the scalp. Now I will tell you, if you have incredibly sensitive skin or if you have a sensitive scalp, you don't like, say, tea tree shampoo, things like that, this product is probably gonna be a little aggressive for you. For me, I love the feeling of tea tree because it helps to calm down the itching of my scalp. Because I don't think you guys understand, Texas heat combined with dry scalp is just, it's a crime scene waiting to happen. It's exactly what that is. I'm gonna go ahead and continue to spray throughout my scalp area, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys how to apply this. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but when my scalp is itching and it's already cutting up, for some reason applying water just really makes my scalp cut up that much worse. So right now my scalp is on fire. It is itching so bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a bit of the scalp scrub here, and we're just gonna take it and place it directly onto the head, and I'm going to squeeze here and there. So basically all I'm doing is kind of squeezing, and I don't know if you guys can see here how it's coming out on the hair. Let me see if I can get in close here so you guys can see. Okay, so you guys can kind of see here how it's doing on there. So I'm basically gonna go ahead and take it, apply it, and massage in a circular motion. So just gonna take it, squeeze, move on, squeeze, move on, squeeze, move on. Now just so you guys can see what this product looks like, let me go ahead and throw the hand action here. Ooh, look at that hand. Then from there, I'll go ahead, squeeze. Well, if it'll squeeze out, it must have some bark in there, hold on. So that way you guys can see the willow bark extract, things like that in there. Those pieces are solid and they do kind of get stuck in your hair. So something to be aware of. That to me, I feel like was one of the drawbacks for me, and just find the edge, just slap that on. That for me was one of the drawbacks. So something to kind of bear in mind. I leave it on, honestly it says to leave it on for up to 5 minutes, but I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm rebellious. I left it on for probably between 5 and 10. Because I was just loving the way my scalp was tingling. I have an esthetician on the channel named Q. Q, if I'm wrong for leaving it on too long, please let me know. I trust your opinion because I've seen you, I've talked to you in person. Like, I know you know your stuff, so let me know, Q. But I'm gonna go ahead and massage this in throughout the scalp. And when I tell you guys, like, I just love the way this product makes my scalp feel, not just when it's in use, but the fact that it calms my scalp down for nearly 2 weeks is amazing. Especially because if you ever suffer with like super dry, itchy scalp, it is just so much to tolerate sometimes. Especially if you're wanting to wear like cornrows, things like that, where you cannot easily get down to that scalp, or you're wanting to wear it for a prolonged period of time. to me it just feels like, dang, I'm not trying to be over here looking like I got some sort of issue and beating the crap out of my scalp trying not to mess up my braids because my scalp is on fire. I'm patting like crazy, looking like I've got people over here wondering if I'm okay and stuff, and I'm over here having to wonder if I'm beating out brain cells. Like, we all know that female who has the quick weave and is over here doing this number for hours, you know. I ain't trying to be that person. But clearly you guys can see I was scratching because when the video started, my edges and everything were looking a hot mess. For now, I'm not even squeezing the bottle anymore, and I would recommend that when you're just massaging, grip around the hard portion of the bottle here. Don't grip the bottle here, because as long as you're gripping here, it's going to, let me move this, it's going to squeeze product out. So I'm gonna use just the massaging portion of the head. Actually, I need a little more there. Okay, I'm gonna use just the massaging portion of the head and go ahead and massage on there, just like that there. Oh, bless the Lord, sweet Jesus. If of course you guys have any questions about this sort of stuff, or you want me to do more videos where I'm kind of displaying the use of products like this, feel free to let me know. I don't want to feel like I'm just dragging stuff out, taking forever, an infinity billion years, but I want you guys to see how products work. I want you guys to be able to see the before and after of my scalp, as well as kind of see in real time how to use it, because I feel like there's a lot of products out here, and unfortunately, folks just don't read. That's all it is down to it. I can already feel it beginning to, like, there's like a tingling sensation on my scalp, which for some people can be a little intense. For others, it's tolerable. So I will say, if you find that you don't like tea tree shampoo, if that seems intense to you, this might not be a good product for you. Otherwise, if you like tea tree shampoo, if you're not allergic to aspirin, if you're not on any like already acne medications like Accutane, things like that, then you should be fine. But if you're on a medication that specifically cannot be something where you're using a salicylic acid or beta hydroxy acid, or if you're not supposed to be out in the sun for extended periods of time due to the medication, you may want to consider whether or not you can use this. I would just say check the side effects on your medication and make sure that you can use salicylic acid with it. Now, I absolutely love salicylic acid because I'm acne prone. I have oily skin, so it helps out with keeping breakouts at bay when I do have breakouts. And yes, I do from time to time have breakouts. I know a lot of times people are just like, I don't ever see no breakout on your face. I do. Thankfully, it's something where a lot of times the bright lights on YouTube cancels all that out. Now, just because I don't want it to be like super gross in here, I do rinse the cap off, but try not to angle it straight up like this because you don't want that water flowing into the bottle. So I turn it to the side and rinse, and just kind of massage as I do it. All right, there's still a little bit of the willow bark stuff in there, but I'm not overly concerned about that. The nice thing is the cap here actually has a little tip that goes right inside of the middle of this, so it doesn't squeeze all into the cap and make a complete mess. So I'm gonna pop that back on. I'm gonna manipulate with the fingers and leave this on for about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna shampoo. Now it does say to use their deep cleansing shampoo, but I'm gonna disobey and I'm gonna use my tried and true Giovanni's Ultra Moist 2 Chic Shampoo and Conditioner, which I have in the shower over here in the liter size bottle. So let me get that real quick. Like, this stuff here is, oh, helps if you turn the bottle right. This stuff here is life. I love this stuff. It is amazing. I've seen a few people who haven't cared for it, but almost everybody I put onto it has been absolutely in love with it. So that's my tried and true. Whenever I'm trying out new products, I always go back to my tried and true because I know that's gonna keep me in really the best moisture balance possible. And a lot of times when I'm trying out products to kind of review for you guys, sometimes I can do a number on this head of hair. Now, just so you guys know, when I'm massaging, I'm using the balls of my fingertips. So what that means is instead of using my fingernails and causing abrasions to the scalp, especially with something like salicylic acid on there that can already cause irritation if you're sensitive, I want to massage gently. So I'm going to use just the balls of the fingertips here. Now, the nice thing about that is it does also stimulate blood flow and circulation, which means it can help out with basically accelerated rate of growth, as well as keeping that hair and skin a bit healthier. Massage is so important for the body as a whole. Even when I'm cleansing my face, things like that, I don't just throw on cleanser and rinse it right back off. I massage it in, and I massage for at least a good, I'd say 30 seconds to a minute with product on my face, sometimes longer if I feel like a breakout's coming. So just things to keep in mind there. Do I have a child trying to bust up in here? What are you doing? I could just be losing my mind. That's a possibility as well. Oh Lord, it is, whew, Jesus. You ever have moments where you feel like, my goodness, this stuff here It's not, well, the product does feel amazing on my scalp because right now I'm feeling like that cool, tingly breeze. But like, you ever have moments where you get into your scalp, like especially after you take down braids and stuff, and you're digging in your scalp so much, it just feels like, oh my God. Like, that's about how I'm feeling right now. Because when I tell you, the scalp has been cutting up since yesterday, and I was like, I need to shampoo it because like, I gotta tell the GlamFam about this product before I use it again. Otherwise, it's gonna be another 2 weeks before my scalp is in this condition, and I ain't got time for that. Like, I got stuff to do today and tomorrow and the next day and so on and so forth. Now, I will say I've used it twice now, and it feels like it probably has about another 2 to possibly 3 uses out of it. I try not to be super liberal because my thing is just get it on the scalp, massage it in. I don't want to slather it on the scalp. I only have so much scalp, like, and it's not benefiting the hair, it's benefiting the scalp. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this stuff out, shampoo all that loveliness, and I'll come back and let you guys see how my scalp and things are looking and how my hair looks immediately following the use of my Too Chic products. I'll be right back. Okay, so my hair has been shampooed, as you guys can see, and of course it is fairly long. Now that you guys can kind of see it wet, that way you guys kind of see the length here. I use the Giovanni's Ultra Moist Too Chic Shampoo and Conditioner, and I'm gonna go in now with the Ultra Moist leave-in. But before I do that, I want to show you guys my scalp and how it's looking now versus how it was looking before. I know it's still wet, so it's gonna be kind of hard for you guys to see, but when I tell you guys my scalp feels super refreshed. And then I'm gonna actually, we can just make this into a minor chit chat video if need to. You guys can see no more flaking. So amazing there. I absolutely love the way my scalp is feeling. So I did want to show you guys though, because I feel like I get a lot of the same type of questions that people are genuinely concerned about, and for good reason. So I want to show you guys the amount of shedding that I got. Now, just to preface this, it's been about, I'd say maybe 6 days since my last shampoo, and I don't comb or brush my hair after my hair is styled the initial time. So from there, no shedding really gets a chance to come out. So I want you guys to see, this is the amount of shedding. Let me put it in the camera here for you. Where's it at? This is the amount of shedding that I saw. And you guys can kind of see it's all matted together now. But I know a lot of people are always concerned about how much their hair sheds, all that. And you guys can kind of see there the amount that I got while shampooing. Now, I wanted to show you guys that because I feel like people are so frequently concerned about how much their hair is shedding. And when it comes down to it, the average head of hair sheds between 60 and 100 strands a day. Now, basically what that means is that if you have a normal head of hair and your hair is in any way curly, if it's in braids, any way that you're not regularly manipulating or brushing it, it's going to still be shedding out of the scalp 60 to 100 strands every single day. So if you have a protective style in something like that, when that protective style comes down, naturally it's going to be a situation where it's like, okay, all of that shedding that was supposed to come out is now coming out of the hair. So that's something that you kind of want to keep in mind when it comes down to dealing with that fabric of hair, is that when you're taking it down on these protective styles and you're seeing a good amount of shedding, as long as you're not seeing visible thinness that's showing up around edges or on the scalp, try not to let that worry you. Shedding is a normal thing, and the longer your hair is, the more shedding it's going to look like. So of course my hair is shorter, it didn't look like this much hair, but when it becomes enough to be able to kind of bunch up and make it look like more, it's going to look like a lot more shedding going on in that hair. So I'm using my leave-in now, and honestly I'm using more of it than I usually do just because I plan on putting my hair in 2 braids. I have church tomorrow in the morning. And so I'm going to go ahead and slather it down. So I'm going to be using some gel. So I want to make sure my hair is really well moisturized before we even really get started. So I'm coming up on time for a trim. These ends feel a little icky. For those who are wondering, yes, I do trim my own hair. And no, I don't recommend that you do it if you're not a licensed professional and if you don't have professional hair cutting shears. Now the reason why is just because when it comes down to it, if your shears are not correctly tempered for hair cutting, then you're actually causing more split ends when you cut. So using kitchen shears, cheap scissors, craft scissors, any of that on the hair is really not sharp enough for hair cutting. And as a result, you can have some issues with causing more split ends or causing it to split more frequently. So things to kind of keep in mind there before you get into all that. Let me take this towel off. It's not staying anyway, so just kind of stay. So I'm gonna go ahead and brush this hair out some, which I don't usually do, but I am going to be putting it in 2 braids. I know, you see how it's kind of catching on the ends there? That is a sign of split ends. That's why I was telling you guys, it's time for my hair to be trimmed because I can kind of feel it now. I'm so kind of accustomed to how hair feels. There's no split end mending product that I could put on there that would take care of this. It has to be trimmed. But you guys can kind of see as I'm brushing through there, I just brushed that section. It glides through real smooth, and when I get to the ends, it's catching and knotting on those ends. So you guys can kind of see there how it's tugging a bit more, and I can feel the difference in the tug of my scalp. Like it keeps catching right down there at the end portion. So I know if I just went through and detangled that and it continues to catch in that area, that's a sign of split ends. It's time to trim. If it's something where you are getting those balls on the ends of your hair, if your hair is curly or kinky or coily, then it's time for a trim. If your hair is straight but the ends are forever frizzy, it's likely time for a trim. And if you are pressing your hair and it doesn't stay straight on those ends, time for a trim. If your hair is curly and it does not stay defined and unified on those ends, time for a trim. These are all signs of split ends. So just so that way you're kind of aware, if your hair is straight, or even if it's not straight, if you press it out and you put curls in it, and those curls still kind of look rough and it feels dry at all times on those ends, regardless of how much moisturizing product you put on there, regardless of whether or not oil is in your hair, you likely have split ends. So something to keep in mind. I feel like this video is going to be long enough, so I'm not going to trim my hair in this one. Maybe I'll do it in another chit chat video, just because that I feel like that would take forever by itself. So let me find a comb real quick. Okay, rat tail comb here, and I'm going to prep my hair for the style that I'm going to be wearing tomorrow, which I'm just going to be wearing 2 Dutch braids. I know some people call it cornrows. If you want to know the difference, I do have a braiding playlist where I not only explain, but I show the difference in how to do Dutch braids versus cornrows. So something to kind of bear in mind there. My part line looks slightly uneven. You know, if anyone asks about my part line, I'll just tell them I'm cockeyed and we can call it a day. So I'm really not overly concerned with whether or not this part line is perfect. We're going to take about half of the hair. I'm going to pull it off to the side and band it up. So we're just going to pop that right on up here. Pop that, jiggle that bad. Don't stop, get it to you close, get away. Okay, Missy Elliott fans, y'all know who I'm talking about. You know what the deal is. I'm going to take now, this is actually a soft wave brush, but I love it for like edges, things like that, because it helps to give a certain degree of smoothness regardless of hair type. I love these type of brushes because it doesn't pull, it doesn't snatch, it doesn't snag, and it just kind of helps to smooth things down. So especially around the edges where the hair is more fine, I love using a soft brush there because it allows me to get a bit more control over that section. You guys can see just the degree of smoothness that that gives me without a lot of stress on the hair. So I'm hoping that this, I know this is probably going to be a super long video, but I'm really hoping that it's beneficial for somebody because I don't want people to just feel like I'm just wasting your time rambling on, like, watch me do my hair. But I feel like a lot of times when I'm doing my own hair, I can kind of show you guys what I'm using and why. For those who are wondering, this is the Got To Be Glued. This is the Ultra Glued in clear. I'm using it because I've noticed that on my edges especially, it holds a bit longer than the yellow one for me. I know some people don't like the yellow one or don't like the black one, but for me, this one has worked just fine. And it doesn't flake or anything in my hair. Honestly, the yellow one doesn't flake either, but I just like the way this one feels a little better. And I'm gonna go ahead and work that through primarily on the outsides of the hair just to kind of help my braids look a bit more like, oh, he loves himself in a good way, not like that stuck up way where it's like, oh, he loves himself, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go ahead and place that all along the part line, but not on the scalp. As you guys saw at the beginning of the video, I have a sensitive scalp, so I would make it a habit not to put products on my scalp or on my client's scalps, my girls' scalps, anything like that. It's just not really a thing that I do. To me, it's like, okay, well, it's a hair product, not a scalp product. If it's for the scalp, by all means, place it all over the scalp. But if it's not, put it on the hair and let it do its job for the hair. That's just kind of how I feel about it. And you can feel however you want to. That's totally fine. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and begin braiding. For those who are wondering, I've been braiding since I was 5. And I did not start out doing Dutch braids or cornrows or anything like that, honestly. I started out with just a standard plait. My mom actually showed me how to plait. I think it was like a little My Little Pony doll or something like that. and I was obsessed. I was braiding up shag carpets. I was braiding up like the little tassel things on people's curtains. I was braiding up people's curtains. Like I braided nonstop. And so I saw her, oh Jesus, these ends. I saw her French braid one of her friend's hair when I was like 7. And just off of seeing it that one time, I picked it up and was like, I can do that, and learned from there. And I taught myself how to cornrow at the age of 12. Sad thing is, I thought I had invented like a new braid. Like this is how underexposed I was as a child. Then from there, started doing hair color at 14. I was enrolled in cosmetology school by 16 and actually had my license before I ever graduated high school. And then later on ended up becoming a cosmetology instructor, and voila, look at me now. And you know, here I am. So now actually, by the time this goes up, I'm sure I'll probably be beyond my last day in the salon. So I'm now actually back in instructing, which I know many of my clients are heartbroken about. So if you guys are watching this, I'm sorry. I still love you, I promise. But admittedly, I love my family a little more. The teaching schedule is absolutely amazing. There's far better benefits, and I get to be home to tuck my girls in. And honestly, like this time, I don't feel as bad as I did the first time that I stopped doing the hair to go teach, because I have Ayana, and I trained her in my techniques and taught her, especially like my natural hair clients. I feel like with a lot of my relaxed clients, I can find people to refer them to with a bit more ease. But with my natural clients, finding someone that I trust and that I feel like they could easily trust with that hair is something that is just kind of difficult, because a lot of people who say that they do natural hair, the only things they're doing is like silk pressing and weave. And I don't know, I'll try to put some clips up of like the type of natural hairstyles that I do. And so like, just so you can kind of see what it is that my clients have gotten accustomed to from me. And I don't know, to me, just silk pressing and weaves just doesn't quite line up with that at all. By the way, this is a wet brush. If you haven't seen the video where I was talking about wet brushes, I love these. These and Denman's are some of my favorite brushes. I like these because they don't catch and snag as much on the hair. The bristles are very, how can I put it, flexible. So like if it catches a knot in your hair, instead of just ripping through that knot, the bristles are more likely to just kind of bend and give. And that way you're able to kind of keep that hair in the best health possible. So I appreciate that. I feel like I'm probably missing a hair somewhere or something like that. But I don't know. To me, I feel like when you're doing your own hair, I don't feel like I'm going to sit up and be over here like, oh, there's a single hair out of place, all that type of stuff. Like, I get it. I'm a hairstylist. But most of the time, even when I'm doing stuff like this, people are like, you do your own hair? Like, I have trust issues. I don't let anybody in my head, to be very honest. I have certain people that I trust for certain things, and that's kind of how that goes. And it's not that people aren't trustworthy, it's just that I feel like as a cosmetologist, you kind of get to a point where it's like you have trouble trusting people. And especially in my instance, I teach cosmetology, so like I can't go in nail salons and feel as comfortable as everyone else does in nail salons. When I go in a nail salon, I'm over here like, did you sanitize that? Was that in an autoclave? Did you go ahead and do this? Has it been properly sterilized? Can I see your cleaning logs? Did you use hospital grade disinfectant? Like, it's just too much issue. By the way, whenever you're putting on rubber bands, if you're putting them on and it's just hard for you to wrap around, just keep in mind it needs to be snug, but it doesn't need to be so tight that your hair is breaking and popping in the process. So you can put a rubber band on without breaking the hair. Alright, so now you guys can kind of see the braid on that side there. And now I'm just gonna literally repeat it on this side over here, and then I'm gonna be done. So I hope that I covered enough information in this video for you guys to kind of feel like it was beneficial and it wasn't just me talking about, you know, life update and then like not updating you guys with anything, because this really isn't a life update. But I feel like I think about a lot of things when I'm doing hair, and honestly, let's be really real, I talk to myself anyway. Like, I don't know if you guys are like this. Whenever I'm cooking, I do like my own cooking show in the kitchen. And so I'm just like, you're going to chop up all the onions. You want to make sure you chop it properly, place it in the pan, and then you're going to simmer and sizzle down until they're nicely translucent. Like, that's me. So you can judge if you want. It's fine. I won't be butthurt about it. Now, of course, if I wanted to clean up a bit more, which I probably will, I would go ahead and take the same soft brush to the edges again, which honestly, I need to do that before I even start braiding the side up. So, oh God, I gotta brush that out. I'm gonna go ahead and just slick a bit more. Cause I'm not worried about having that whole like stitch braid look. I'm worried about it looking like, dang, them edges is laid. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't pay attention to the cul-de-sacs. They've been there since childhood. If you don't believe me, look at my child. She got them too. Zelina didn't get them though. Zelina got that lace front hairline. That stuff is serious. She looks like she got a wig on at all times. Envious. But nonetheless, I mean, I just feel like if these cul-de-sacs get any deeper with age, I'm just going to build some houses up there. We're going to sell it as prime real estate. And then I can be a property manager. Just get a nice realtor so I don't have to worry about collecting rent. We can call it a day. Just in case you guys were wondering. So I know a lot of people feel like, well, I didn't realize your curls were this loose. So curls, of course, a lot of times, like you guys see how straight this looks like it is. When it curls up, I'll have to put a picture on screen of what my hair looks like when it's completely curled without me stretching it. But I mean, they're tight and they draw way up, like way up here. So I don't know, to me, I feel like don't ever let wet hair kind of fool you. I think a lot of times, especially like Instagram, stuff like that, people end up doing like those whole videos like this. They've got a million miles of product in their hair and people are like, oh my gosh, hair goals, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking like their hair is matted in the morning just like yours. The only difference is you caught it after they detangled when it's literally full of conditioner. It's dripping out the hair during the video. Like I understand it's hair porn, but let's not act like, you know, that's their hair when it dries on a daily basis. Like wet hair is always deceiving. So, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Basically, I've been into hair my entire life. My mom told me that like when I was a kid, I was one where if she needed to take a nap, and she was a single parent for quite a few years, so if she needed to take a nap, what she would do is go ahead and give me a brush and she would lay on the floor and she would go to sleep and I would brush her hair from the time that she fell asleep until the time that she wakes up. That continued until I got the brush stuck in her hair, and then the devil was a whole lie and that did not ever happen again. But most of the things that I do now and I know how to do, people would consider me to like specialize in, I learned on my mom. So it did a couple of different things for me. Number one, it taught me how to do cornrows, things like that on all hair types. Because for those who don't know, my mom is vanilla and her hair is baby fine. It slides out of stuff really easily. So to learn how to braid that hair type and to braid it for like cornrows, micros, box braids, all that type of stuff, I've done all of that on her. On top of that, she's literally one of the most tender-headed people that I know, and I learned some of everything on her. So it made me very light-handed, but still able to kind of get styles to look fresh and snug and tight without snatching on your edges. So, you know, it's one of the things where, as you guys know, my saying is bump the whales to save the edges, because edges are important. I need to be having things your whole life. Like, let's not just be going for savagery with these edges. We need those. But if anyone needs them, I got edges for sale. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue braiding up. This side feels like it's coming out uglier than the other side, but I don't really care. Now, what I like to do, because I'm not down for doing a ton of different styles on my hair, is I'll go ahead and leave this like this for maybe 2 days, possibly 3, since they got to be glued gel in there. And then when it starts to look like Jesus wept over this hairstyle because it's busted and ugly, then I'm gonna go ahead and I'll unbraid it, put a little bit of like either smoothing serum or oil on my ends, and I'll wear it kind of crinkled for a day or two. And then from there, I'll probably figure out some other options, but we'll see. I don't do a lot of manipulating to my hair. It's mostly in some degree of protective style majority of the time, and even when I wear it down, it starts out down and then it ends up because let's be real, this is Texas, it's summer, I could die, it's hot as Hello Kitty outside. By the way, if you guys are learning like a new style of braids, like let's say for instance you're a natural overhand braider and you're trying to do underhand braiding, the secret that I always tell my students is to talk throughout the process. So like usually if you're used to braiding underhanded, like for say cornrows, and you're trying to learn French braiding, it's going to feel really unnatural for you to braid overhanded for French braids. So usually what I recommend to people is that they go ahead and while they're going through it, that they talk themselves through the process out loud. And basically it's like you're appealing more so to the intellectual side of the brain for that. So instead of it being like, okay, well, I'm just doing this naturally, not thinking about it as much because I'm comfortable with it, you're now talking yourself through the process. So instead of being like, okay, well, let's just get this done, I would literally say, okay, right over center, left over center, right over center, like I was teaching someone else. And that way it appeals to that intellectual side of the brain. You're welcome for that little tidbit if you needed it. If you didn't need it, then thank you for sitting and listening to it while I wasted your time. So this is the 2 braids, and hold on, let me smooth the edge. Let's fill in all the gaps. Look at that, looking good. Won't you do it? Okay, so very rarely do I wear my braids down like these. Maybe when it gets a little longer, like it hangs like to here, I would probably just wear it down. But a lot of times I'll take the ends and I'll just pin it up the other way, especially for church, because I try my best not to be a distraction at church. I try my best. There are my days. I'll turn so you guys can see how crooked the part is in the back. There you go, slow turn. So of course, if you guys have any questions, anything like that, feel free to leave them down in the comment box below. With all these different products, I will try to make sure to link them down below. And of course, if you wanted more information like the information I give in this video, then be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out my playlist on like hair care tips and advice. If you have natural hair, I've got a whole playlist for natural hair. If you have children, I've got a whole playlist for children's hair. Like I have stuff for so many different hair types on here, as well as some different playful videos and even wig reviews, as well as wig tutorials on how to fix like your old kind of beat up synthetic wigs and make them new all over again. So until next time, you guys, take care, God bless, stay glam, and don't forget, if you have a scalp like mine, check this stuff out, it's amazing. If you have naturally dry hair, check this stuff out, it's the bomb. And if you have tangle prone hair, wet brush is amazing too. These are basically just some of my present favorites, I guess, that I just wanted to share with you. So if you found it beneficial in any way and you didn't feel like this was a total waste of your time, let me know in the comments down below. If you did feel like it was a total waste of your time, you can tell me that too. It's fine. That way I kind of know how to move forward. Until next time, you guys, take care, God bless, and stay glam. And you know I love you, boo. Bye.
If you don't yet follow us on Instagram at GlamFam, be sure to check us out. We have tons of stuff that you just may love, including comedy, foolery, and behind-the-scenes stuff on videos like the one you saw today. Be sure to check us out and follow. Take care, God bless, and stay glam. You know I love you, boo.